Are we going to speak to these gentlemen
We're
now?
going to speak to the makers of Victoria, well, the director and one of the leads of Victoria Day.
The director is David Bezmozgis. He is the director and screenwriter of a Sundance movie called Victoria Day, and also the lead actor for Victoria Day is with us, Mark Reynolds. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. And David, if you could lean into the microphone, not sit way back there, that would be...
Mark Reynolds.
Yeah,
he was kidding earlier.
Oh, he was kidding.
Reynolds.
Yeah, I was saying you should call me Mike Reynolds, but you know, it wouldn't be right.
So what is it, Rendell?
Rendell, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's a great debate over how my name is.
Mark Reynolds.
I like Rendell.
Okay, so Mike Reynolds is with us.
Thank you, yes.
The star of Victoria Day. I think it would be useful to our listeners to tell people what Victoria Day is.
Victoria Day. So
Let's start
It's
there.
a Canadian holiday. Why don't we?
Yeah.
Victoria Day is a holiday that's celebrated in Canada, the Cayman Islands, and I think Australia.
Mm-hmm.
In honor of Queen Victoria's birthday. In Canada, it's really known as May 2-4 weekend, because that's when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Also
And
because everyone buys 2-4s of beer. And
So it's the beginning of summer.
yeah.
Beginning of summer.
Beginning of
It's
summer.
a big celebration. Everybody gets crazy on Victoria Day.
You shoot off a lot of fireworks. It's
Yeah.
like the 4th of July here. So that's what happens is people drink a lot of beer and shoot a lot of fireworks.
And Mark here plays a young man named Ben Spector.
A Russian.
First generation Russian immigrant in the movie?
Yeah. I mean, this is based on your life, right, David? I mean, growing up from where were you from originally? Latvia?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in the former Soviet Union. My
Okay.
family moved to Canada in 1980. Am I close enough? Do I have to swallow this thing?
Oh, you see what we do? You almost
I
have
see.
to do
Okay.
that.
Yeah. So you know, basically.
So basically what?
Well,
Yeah.
You were about to...
Yeah. No, I understand, Mark. This is where the director is supposed to step in and tell his story.
Yeah, exactly. Because basically, like Victoria Day is largely based on a summer, like loosely based. Well, not of you growing up, in Toronto in '88.
How?
The hair.
Is he saying...
This is why I bring him with me.
Don't leave David hanging, or don't leave poor Mark hanging.
Yeah.
Just take over, will you? Dan?
So you write about what you know.
The
Pitch it,
story
baby.
is
This is Hollywood.
it's set in Toronto, 1988. And basically, it's about teenagers in Toronto, and Ben Spector, big fan of actually music of the '60s, and Bob Dylan comes to town. He goes to the concert. He sees a friend of his, actually a guy he knows.
Not really a friend.
Not really a friend. The guy who actually is on his hockey team goes to his school, and he sees this guy's trying to buy some drugs. They don't get along. He asks him for some money. Ben reluctantly gives him the money.
Because he's afraid he'll get beat up.
Not really.
No, it's just
he just doesn't like him. He just wants to get rid of him. It's
Okay.
one of those situations. And he discovers later on that the guy didn't come back from the concert. Meanwhile, Ben has always had a crush on this guy's sister, his younger sister. And with his disappearance, he has the opportunity to pursue her. And so...
To help find your... I'm going to help you find your brother. That kind of thing?
Well, in a way. I mean, well, I don't want to say the scene that the pivotal scene.
There are scenes where, he basically takes advantage in a way of this situation. And the film takes place over a series of about 5 days while this kid is missing. And the fact that he's missing is really just a frame for the film. It's not a mystery. It's not a murder mystery.
Yeah.
So how autobiographical is this, David?
How autobiographical is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
how much is it based on you?
I was a teenager in Toronto in the '80s. I loved the music of the '60s.
And that's it?
Do you play hockey?
I was not nearly as good a hockey player as Ben Spector.
Okay.
But my family, is Russian immigrant family. I wrote a collection of stories a few years ago called Natasha and Other Stories, also about the Russian immigrant experience.
So, and that's a big flavor of this film, then, is the Russian immigrant aspect of it.
Well, the relationship between the mother and father and the son is a huge dynamic in the film. I mean, Ben basically, one aspect is the relationship with him and Kayla, but a very large one is with him and his parents. They're very conservative kind of, and
they're very Russian.
Well, yeah, they're very worried about Ben, and they want the best for him. It's very
as immigrant families often are, they want the kid to have a profession, to succeed, to be secure.
Are they proud of you, David?
Are my parents proud
Yes.
of me? Yes. They are.
Were they worried about you when you said, well,
No,
really
it's-
what I want to do is make movies and write stories? Were they worried about you?
Yes, they were.
Yeah. And that kind of plays into this movie as well?
Not entirely, but I mean, but that element, which is not restricted to, you know, Russian immigrants, it's all immigrants, Korean, you know, Chinese, all of this, you know, it's the immigrant experience that happens for all of them.
The only thing, all of this sounds great to me. The only thing that would keep me away from this film is apparently there's Hacky Sack playing in it. Apparently people play Hacky Sack in this movie. I hate Hacky Sack.
Well, it was 1988, remember?
How much Hacky Sack will keep you away? Any?
How many minutes of Hacky
There's
Sack?
literally there's 2 shots with Hacky Sack. One shot and one scene with Hacky
But
Sack.
it's expertly done.
Okay.
Very expertly
All
done.
right. If it's-
You'd be impressed. In
If
fact,
it's any-
it might turn you.
If it's any consolation, Ben barely hacks.
See,
Hacky
Oh,
Sack.
okay.
See, my whole problem with Hacky Sack is that I always try to win, and it just never seems
It
to
never
work.
stops, right?
It never seems to
There's
work
no
out.
end to
He
Hacky
tries to
Sack.
spike the
And
sack.
Hacky Sack is more of it's kind of a communal thing.
Yeah,
You have to be able to give up a little bit.
And
I
that's
know,
just-
and that's not me at all. I'm gonna kill you at this game.
So Mark, is this your first film?
No, it's not. I mean, I've been acting for about 9 years.
But this is like, is this your first lead?
No, it's not either. I've done a fair amount in Canada, but you know,
Okay.
not a lot of stuff that people have seen in the past. Only recently have I started doing things that have been more international, like being seen by people.
Mark's a fantastic actor.
And did you start out as a writer primarily, and then 'cause you said you'd written a book of short stories?
Yeah, I mean, I went to film school at USC. I got an MFA in production, and then lived in LA for a while. Moved back to Toronto, wrote a collection of stories, and have been writing mostly for the last 5 years. But this project I wrote in 2001 with the idea of getting it made, and it's just taken this long to do it.
Is it one of those things where you finally decide, if I'm going to do this, get it done, I'm going to have to direct it myself, and that, or did you always want to direct it as well?
I always wanted to direct it,
Yeah.
but what you're saying is true. I mean, the feeling was if we're going to do it, there's some element of it's got to be done now, and so we really made a push, my producers and I, to get it done this summer.
When did it finally? Yeah, here you are. It's going to be shown tomorrow here at the Sundance
next
Film
door,
Festival.
yeah.
And that's a great venue, by the way. If you've been in there, it's terrific. But here, when was the film actually finished?
The film was finished. We finished shooting October the 2nd.
So it's been done a while. Have you seen it? Have
It's actually not
audiences?
been done a
Yeah,
while.
post-production
by
generally
film
takes
standards.
Yeah.
quite a while. I mean, they managed to put it together within. I think you had like a final, like a rough cut by the first week after finishing.
We were quick.
Yeah.
given How these things go.
Has an audience seen it yet? A full audience, or just?
This is it. This
This-
is. I mean,
wow.
this is the
No
thrill.
test screenings or
No
anything.
test screenings. Nothing. I mean, this is going to be the first proper screening of
No
this film.
test, nothing.
Well, we've had a few friends have
Some
seen
friends,
it back
but yeah.
just to get a sense, but no, this is it.
So are you going to be? Are you gonna? I just went through this. I was in a movie made by a guy in Salt Lake.
Okay.
And I was the lead in the movie and did the whole. And I barely couldn't watch it. I was ace. I was really drunk.
Yeah. Not only was
Throughout
booze,
the entire movie.
not only was booze provided at the screening, but I brought him extra just in
Okay,
case.
Oh,
okay.
my God,
Just
man.
to deal with the anxiety
Yeah.
of having your face on a
Oh
screen.
God! And I hid in the
Dude,
back
you're
of the
so jet,
theater.
yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, and it's hard for me to have to have an objective perspective on the film, like to see it just for
People
what it
said,
is.
"What do you what did you think of your performance?" And I said, "I just have no idea. I have no idea."
Yeah, it's so hard to get
He-
perspective.
And,
So
and Bill does vow one day to see it sober.
Yeah, I will someday.
one day.
The movie is Victoria Day. It's directed by David Bezmozgis and starring Mark Rendell. Both of you have been with us. Very, very nice to have you. Where?
Like Brent.
Can we add that it's going to play in Salt Lake City on Sunday?
Well,
got
we're going
the-
to
I've
tell
got
you
the
all the
showtimes
times
right
right
now.
now.
Very good.
It's going to start tomorrow at 6 p.m. right next door at the Egyptian Theater here in Park City. Then it will be downtown on Sunday at noon at the Broadway. Tuesday, January 20th at the Holiday Village Cinema in Park City at 9:15. Wednesday, the 21st at 3 p.m. at the Sundance Resort Screening Room. That's down in Utah County, Provo area. Then back at the Egyptian Theater on Friday the 23rd at 9 a.m.
It's Victoria Day. Mark Rendell, and just a little quick bit of advice, Mark, from a guy who's
Okay.
interviewed people a
Yeah.
lot of times.
Yeah.
Joke around about anything,
All right.
but never joke around about your name if you want people
That's
to
right.
remember it
Rendell.
Okay.
and say it
Or
right.
Rendell.
Okay.
Mark Rendell.
Like
Mark-
like Rendell.
Mark Rendell is the star of Victoria Day.
Thank you.
David Bezmozgis is the director. Thanks, you guys.
All right.
Appreciate
Thank you.
it.